Am I the only one that thinks Zoe Macon has a little bit more going on than meets the eye? Hi guys, folks, Jolly Yellow talking to you. Due to some crazy scheduling over the last week or so, I'm just now recording my thoughts and feelings about episode 1 of Lanterns on HBO Max. Episode 2 is already out, but I have intentionally not watched it until I could sit down and record my feelings about 1. And when it comes to episode 1, I have most of the usual, feelings and expectations and praise for the show that most fans do. I like the fact that they gave it a more grounded approach. I know people are probably tired of hearing the word grounded when it comes to adapting a comic book to TV or movie, but I do like what they did here with it. It comes off more as a police drama murder mystery, almost like a season of true crime, because in fact that kind of comparison was thrown around a lot early on, and we see that it is a fitting comparison. It looks like a gritty mystery that 2 regular old cops are going to be working on, rather than some intergalactic conspiracy involving superpowered beings and superpowered objects. And I'm liking it so far. I like how down to earth it is, literally down to earth, because as we see, Hal, he's not some glorious larger than life being. He's just a regular dude that has been on the job as a Green Lantern for, years at this point. And now he's taking on John Stewart as his apprentice, and they have to work together as well as Hal train John. And we see kind of how things work between the two of them. They kind of have their own dynamic, I guess you could say, of like the not hard-boiled, but the grizzled veteran who's been around for so long that he's almost tired of it. And then you got that new rookie that is trying to set his place or make his place and make his name known that he is a viable person. But it is understood that John is training to possibly one day replace Hal if it should ever come down to it. And first and foremost, speaking of that ending, I'm sure you've all seen it by now, but spoiler if you hadn't by chance, we find out at the end of episode 1, Hal is dead. And now John is probably going to be on the case to find out what happened to him. Now that shocked a lot of people, but in the comic books, it's not the first time Hal has died. So there's a real chance there where John will prevent his death. Maybe he will somehow be fully resurrected, or for the sake of TV flow, unlike comic book flow, this may be season 1 may be all we really get of front and proper Hal Jordan, and anything that happens in future seasons might just be flashbacks, because the show must go on, and I feel like people would get tired of it if they stayed focused on one lantern for the entire series. So I'm almost expecting it's going to be maybe a rotation of lanterns, maybe even go off planet every once in a while. One of the episodes later on this season will be Guy Gardner's origin, so maybe that entire episode is going to be about Guy. From there, in the future seasons, we could be dealing with other lanterns from all across the place. One thing though that really sticks in the back of my head, and I cannot let this go. Joy Macon. She seemed to appear out of nowhere, and it's very easy to just say, oh, no. She was just there to scout them and find out what they're all about, to, get some surveillance, I guess, so that the Macon family can get some intel on what these guys are about before they actually meet them. And that's possible. But for some reason, it just seems really weird to me that she would introduce herself to John under that circumstance, not even say what her name is until the next day or so, and she's like oh yeah, and now you finally have my name. And I'm like, with the things that they did already, and then he got her name, and I just have the feeling that she might be up to something a little deeper than just she wanted to get some intel on John and Hal before the Macons formally met. And even I still wonder, it's like, with the way she acted, could she possibly be a Star Sapphire? Now, the Star Sapphires, for those of you who don't know, they occupy the pink space in the rainbow colored spectrum, the emotional spectrum, representing the emotion of love. I'm not very well read on them. I haven't read Star Sapphires in a long time. That's about all I know about them. Is their emotional coverage is love. They deal with the color pink. And if I'm not mistaken, male Star Sapphires are either extremely rare or do not exist. I can't remember which to that. So I'm wondering if maybe that's what Joy is, and that's part of her own mission or something like that. Because so far we haven't seen any word on Carol Ferris, who is a Star Sapphire in the comics, or is or was, and her ties to Hal Jordan. So if Hal is going to be dead by the end of the season, maybe they decided they're going to introduce the Star Sapphires with another person through another means. Could that be Joy? That's what I'm asking. But yeah, that's kind of the wrap of it. I'm definitely ready to watch episode 2, probably watching it later on tonight. It's already up and available to watch by the time you see this on, this ought to be Tuesday the 25th that you're watching this. Hopefully I will have watched it by then, and hopefully I will have my thoughts and feelings about episode 2 up later on this week. So that's me talking about Lanterns on HBO Max. If you are chiming in and watching as well, let me know what you think in the comments. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't. You agree with what I say, you don't agree with it. Maybe you have another idea of what Joy Macon is up to. You folks have a good one. Jolly Yellow out. As always, keep exploring.